Welcome. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed 5-minute podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. And I really hope you guys have an incredible day today. I just wanted to check in with you, and we chop it up on Thursdays from time to time. And I just wanted to talk about a topic that I just feel is really heavy right now in my spirit. And it's just about how we are shifting seasons and changing, and relationships are changing, ending, beginning, opportunities are coming. You know, there's so many different things happening right now. So I want to call this one moving on. It's very simple. So if you do follow my podcast at all, you know that in the month of April, I had to take some time off and fill my tank back up. And I will be honest with you, if I have to check out a few more days again, I will do that. I'm not worrying about numbers and metrics. I'm consistent as long as God allows me to be, but I'm not foolish. And I have had to learn the hard way that, you know, when you really decide what you're chasing after, that will determine how you care about yourself and what you give value to. You know, I think I was becoming inundated with goals and focus and all of these things. And the thing is, you can't do all of that and then just slap a scripture on it when you get up in the morning or, in the middle of the day, 3 times a day. You have to literally ask God, is this what you want me to do? Not, God, this is what I'm going to do. Bless it. There's a big difference between the two. And I had to learn that personally, because what you'll find is you will create relationships, you will create experiences and things that are not optimum experiences for your life. It will appear that way, but these are not situations that give you your absolute best. And I personally had to learn that. So in this time, I had to move. I ended up moving recently. And I thought that I was going to be moving far, far away. And, God had other plans. And, many people were asking me, well, I thought you were moving here and I thought you were going down. I'm like, listen, I know I heard God clearly, but the thing you have to understand about hearing God, y'all, you got to go when he tells you to go. And sometimes God will give you a word for another season, but perhaps he tells you way ahead of time because he wants you to prepare for when that season comes. That may cause you to do a whole bunch of other things in the beginning. He may say, listen, you're moving to Africa. And then you start preparing, getting your dashiki, ready to go to Wakanda and a whole bit. And then, no door opens. Nothing opens. Like nothing opens. Right? But you're like, no, I heard God. Okay, yes, you may have heard God, but God hadn't given you the details, but he's saying prepare, but you can't catch that part because everything is on, this is what God says. And it's almost like you put yourself in a precarious situation because you start looking at God like he's a liar, or you start assuming that things are not going well because of other reasons, when sometimes God will just give us some information to move on in the season that we're in, and that final destination just hasn't gotten there yet. Again, another major lesson that I've learned. So when I talk about moving on, I want to just talk to somebody who's listening this morning or today or whenever you listen, whatever time. I just feel that in my spirit, somebody is going to hear this and it's going to be a game changer for them, because there's a couple of things you need to know. Number one, and excuse me, before I give these, I just want to say this. I'm going to base this off of what I went through. So you figure out what this means for you, but I am going to go ahead and do what God is showing me, and I'm going to tell you guys about my experience. So number one, when it comes to moving on, there is not, let me say this. When it comes to moving on, that's oftentimes not easy. Because typically when you have to move on from something and you're comfortable with it, or you think that that's exactly what you're supposed to be dealing with or engaging in, sometimes it's not comfortable. It's not. Somebody's listening and you have to move on, and the thing that's keeping you from moving on is being comfortable. You thought that this thing was going to be one thing, and it turned out to be something else, right? You sitting there thinking, oh my God, this should be this should be that. Now, I'm going to tell you, I personally was going through something and you could not tell me. Do you hear me? You could not tell me things were going to go the way that they're going now. You could not have paid me. Yeah, me with a whole podcast and prophesying and praying for people and all this stuff. Let me tell y'all, that's why I tell y'all all the time, read your Bible. God is not a respecter of persons. And let me tell you something. No person is greater than the other. I don't care how many spiritual gifts you have. I don't care how much anointing you have. I don't care how many followers you have. Okay? If you're not directing them followers back to Christ, well, then good luck with that. Because that can take you on a slippery slope. And that's why sometimes the Lord nudges us to say, you know what? I want to give you these things and I'm going to give you these things, but I know that there's some things that you're not doing that I need you to do that are conducive with really being able to enjoy a harvest, a ripe season in the place that I showed you you're going to. But it won't be able to happen if you are not doing what I'm telling you to do today. And it's just like God saying, hey, you know, I'm going to make sure you have a baby. Okay, you get pregnant. You get pregnant. And the day you get pregnant, you know, you literally get the nursery and you sitting there rocking in the chair and there's no baby in your arm. But you're like, oh, but the baby's coming in 9 months. But God is like, no, like you have to do things. You got the rocking chair, you got the crib, but you have to paint the room. You have to buy all the things. You have to go to all the doctor's appointments. The baby has to grow. It's not even ready yet. These are the kind of things that's happening right now with moving on. The Lord is causing you to move on and it doesn't feel good. Whoever it is, He's causing you to move on because He knows better than you do. And He knows that when you get to the ordained place, when you get to that final destination, it's going to make sense. Now, let me tell you something else that's really awesome. Use the same example with pregnancy. So when you are pregnant, right? You have to take a moment and you have to say, okay, I know the baby is due in 9 months or whatever day the doctor gives. And then you have literally all that time to plan ahead. And so when the baby comes, you stocked up with diapers, you have clothes, you have wipes, you have bottles, you have a little nook, whatever it is you need. You have all of these things ready for the baby, right? Because God showed you it was coming in 9 months, but you knew the baby wasn't coming today. So God is saying, listen, before you can move on to parenthood, before you can move on to motherhood or fatherhood, while you're in this place right now, I need you to prepare to get there. Yes, I want you to get there, but listen, that first trimester is interesting. The second one is a doozy, and that third one is off the chain. I'm going to need you to prepare so that it does not overtake you. I'm going to need to prepare you so that when the baby actually comes, you're fine. You're great. You're better than fine. You can absolutely enjoy the birth of that baby because you are well prepared for it. Some of you, God has told you about a place that you are going to move, but you are not prepared yet. The baby just got in the oven. The whole baby and the vision of moving to that place is not ready yet. And you thought because God told you today or yesterday, boom, let's go. Let me tell you something. He may say, okay, listen, I want you to move to Africa. But then he may say, listen, I know you feel like you have to move from the space you are now, but you know what? I'm going to move you to Cali first. And you over there fighting that move because he's like, you know, you're like, well, I didn't know about Cali. He's like, no, you need to go to Cali because when you go to Cali, you're going to meet these people. And these people are going to be from the part of Africa you're going to. And they are the people that have the blessing that's going to invite you to Africa. But you're going to have to make this other move first. So don't despise what God is doing right now. Again, I don't know who needed to hear that, but yes, you heard God. You did not miss God. And guess what? He is going to do what He said He's going to do. But also remember this, for those of you who have to move on and you have to move to a new place, for those of you who have to move on from a relationship, I'm going to tell you something and I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I did a podcast on this a couple of months ago. You can always go back to the episode log, hit the link below this particular episode and find it. In fact, I'm going to try to find it and I'll highlight it and I'll put it underneath this episode and you can go straight to it. Because it's still a now word. It's actually going to be a rhema word for somebody who listens to it tonight or today or whenever. It's actually going to touch you now. And I think I did it maybe in November or December. I cannot remember exactly. But let me tell you something. Sometimes God will rewrite. He will reroute you. He will be like, boom, you're going to do an about face. He may make you turn around and do something else. Not because something is wrong, not because you misheard him, not because things aren't right, but because he knows better than you do what's going on. He knows better than you do. And he is trying to protect you. He's trying to comfort you. And I'm going to tell you, God will make that thing so awesome. He will literally allow you to see and watch that whole thing play out right there from the sideline eating your popcorn. And you're nowhere in it. Sometimes God has to move you on from something or someone to protect you. God, sometimes it will say, you know what? I know this person is not who they say they are. They stunt, but that's not who they are. So I'm going to pull you out of that and I'm going to let you watch and see. Because what you're about to see is who they really are, and it's going to come out from this situation. You may have been mad at me when I moved it on. You may have thought, okay, God, well, what was all of this about? I thought this was this and I thought it was that. You listen, daughter. You listen, son. You're going to see exactly why I had to do a rewrite. A reroute. No, you didn't miss me. No, I didn't change my mind, but I gave you free will. That person decided to be disobedient concerning me. That person decided to be disobedient concerning you. That person decided to go for a shiny thing, or that person decided to just do nothing, or that person decided to collab with people that I did not ordain, that I didn't give a blessing to. It's not even in my permissive will. It's certainly not in my perfect will. So there's nothing I can really do with that. So some of you, just be encouraged, because some of you are looking at situations. It could be with a person that you thought you were going to be with. It could be with a job somebody else got. It can be with your business. It can be with a friendship. Y'all, it runs the gamut. It's not one particular thing. The Lord may have pulled you out that thing to make you step back and look and watch that thing just blow to smithereens. And he didn't want you to be a part of it. Because even though your little heart was troubled, and even though you felt played, the Lord knew if you would have stayed, you would have got played far worse. So I want you to be encouraged. And in this season of moving on, move on with faith and in hope. Take the faith walk. Don't be upset. Don't be discouraged. Don't feel like God is trying to play you. Trust me when I tell you, you are not hearing this by mistake. If God is nudging you to move on or to move somewhere, be open to the fact that it may not be exactly the way you thought. It may not be straight up the street. It may be some twists and turns and some hilly places and some plateaus and some mountainous times, but you just have to be open to it, because he wants you to get exactly what he has for you. And sometimes in order for you to get that, you have to take the road less traveled. And sometimes you have to take that road less traveled by yourself. And you have to do it in such a way where God can get complete and total honor. I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to the inspirationspecialist.life or I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again, and see you next time.